Kevin Schurch, Spink County Sheriff. Thank you everybody for coming this afternoon. The thing I want to get across is that everybody went home safe today. There was a team of talented negotiators that successfully brought this resolution to a peaceful end for the defendant and all those involved. My deputy, Jenna Appel, was one of the first deputies that engaged the operation that happened this morning, so I'm going to turn it over to her to let you know, let her tell you in her words what happened. If you have any questions for me, I would be available after the comments.
Hi, my name is Jenna Appel. I'm a deputy with Spink County Sheriff's Office. This morning about maybe 6:45, we got a call about a agitated individual that came into the hospital upset. Once law enforcement was called, he left the scene and we began looking for him. I would say around 7:45, I came in contact with him on the street in Redfield. I gave him some commands to stop and come speak with me, and then that's when he got back into his vehicle and a pursuit started, and at the end of the pursuit we came here, and that's when he came into the hospital and barricaded himself inside. That's all I have, unless you have other questions.
Are you aware if he had any drugs in his system?
I do not know that. It's still an ongoing investigation at this time.
Do you know what prompted this incident or the motive behind his agitation? And
it's ongoing investigation at this time.
Do you happen to know the relationship between the man and the 10-year-old?
It's an ongoing investigation. We don't want to go into that right now.
What type of weapon did he have? Did he have a weapon?
He had one handgun, yes, and there was other weapons involved in the car also. There were other weapons involved also, but just one weapon inside the hospital.
Okay. What other weapons were involved?
There was a long gun, assault-style rifle that was in his vehicle.
Did the suspect threaten to harm anybody else aside from the child?
Right now I don't have that information. It's still real early in the investigation.
Is there any knowledge of why he chose to go to the hospital? Any significance in place?
Again, it's pretty early in things, and we're still getting things sorted out, and we'll have to interview a lot of the people involved in the hospital.
Is there anything you'd like to say to all the people that were out here helping to deal with this situation today?
It was impressive on how patience, played a role in this. We talked to the man that was barricaded and reasoned with him, and the negotiators were pivotal in getting him to release the child and then to eventually come out and surrender himself.
How long was he barricaded inside for?
I would say it was just after 8, maybe when he got to the hospital and barricaded himself into one of the rooms.
And then about 1, I guess I don't know when you guys finish that, wrap that up.
1:30.
If you guys can hold additional questions, we're going to hear from Fischbach.
Hi, I'm Victor Fischbach, Spink County State's Attorney. I'd first like to start off by saying we're very thankful that everybody's safe, especially this young child. It was a complete relief knowing that that child had been released from here, and then our next goal became keeping everybody else safe, all the responders as well as the defendant who's currently in custody. I'd like to personally thank Aberdeen Police Chief David McNeil for the mutual aid assist, and also Brown County Sheriff Mark Milgram. They assembled their rapid response teams and negotiators and were down here within 20 to 30 minutes. It was very impressive. I'd also like to thank the additional agencies and all the agencies that were involved: the Spink County Sheriff's Department, Spink County State's Attorney's Office, Brown County Sheriff, Aberdeen Police, South Dakota Highway Patrol, Department of Criminal Investigation, Brown County Emergency Management, Spink County Emergency Management, the FBI agents out of Aberdeen, Game Fish and Parks, Spink County Victims Assistant, the Attorney General's Office, and the bearer response team. So this was a very intense, volatile situation that ended as best as it possibly could. So we will now continue the investigations here and determine what charges are appropriate and follow through, see what else needs to be done here.
What charges is he currently being held on? How many charges?
Right now, the charges would likely be aggravated eluding, child endangerment, aggravated assaults on the deputies who responded, possible charge of kidnapping, charges of simple assault. We need to look into possible child abuse or neglect charges. And basically, I'm waiting for the statements to be gathered by the various law enforcement agencies, and then I'll sort through those to determine what charges are appropriate. I would also like to point out that the deputies who responded this morning likely saved many lives. I think it needs to be pointed out that the deputies in response had an idea where he was headed to, and the deputy called ahead, had the hospital go on lockdown, and Mr. O'Keefe might be able to go in more of that here as far as the hospital administrator. But by their rapid response, they ended up having the person cornered, both Jenna and the other deputy, Isaac Appel, who responded. So I'd like to commend them on that. Thank you.
Now you'll hear from Mike O'Keefe, the administrator.
Michael O'Keefe, CEO, Redfield Community Memorial Hospital, Avera. I want to take this time again to reiterate and thank the dedicated staff here at the hospital for their response, as well as law enforcement for their quick response. As Vic alluded to, this could have had a much worse outcome. So I definitely want to thank all those staff members that were here and on site for their quick actions. We in healthcare, we practice these, we go through these drills, and our hopes are to never actually have to live one, and we did today. But the actions of my staff and the actions of the physicians here, the law enforcement officers made this situation turn out to be as best as it could be. So again, I want to thank them for their time, their efforts, from Brown County as well, for all those that did come up and respond, the Avera team for their response as well. The outcome is the best we could have hoped for going into today's situation. Definitely a scary situation, definitely things that we'll be working on with staff to make sure we get through this. But again, want to thank the sheriff and all those involved with their help. Thank you.
How many people had to be evacuated?
Staff-wise, we had about 35 or 40 staff members in at the time when the lockdown and when the deputies arrived. We also had 6 patients in-house. And we did, of course, it's a Monday morning, so we did have a lot of patients that were scheduled to be coming in that we were able to get a hold of, reschedule, and keep them from coming into the scene at that time.
You mentioned this is something you guys trained for but hope never happen. What thoughts were going through your mind when you realized this is a reality?
Well, it's not a drill. It's really what it goes through. But again, we go through very rigid training from all staff, from top to bottom, physicians to nurses to ER, first responders. We work with the sheriff's office. We just recently put in our lockdown system not quite a year ago. This was the first time we really used it, and it worked. We needed it. So again, we go through these on an annual basis just because we know things in the world could happen. And our protocols were followed, our policies were followed. It was impressive how we actually rolled out, and the communication trees that went along to all staff to keep them from showing up, those that didn't need to be here, and to take care of the ones that we have here. Patients were never at risk or at harm. We took very good care of them as well. So again, it's just, it went live. It wasn't a drill anymore. And we're just thankful the protocols and policies that we trained were able to be followed, and the outcome became what it is today.
Is this the best outcome you could hope for? Nobody was injured?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Did the suspect come peacefully?
It's an ongoing investigation. I think I'll leave it at that.
I think I can assure you that he surrendered peacefully, and he, through the course of the day, he had begun surrendering ammunition to the negotiators as the day proceeded, and then the child was released earlier in the day, and then the negotiation team continued to visit with him and then talked him into eventually coming out. So the negotiation team from Aberdeen did a tremendous job.
When did communication with him start? Was it initially difficult, or?
Communications with him started almost immediately. Sheriff Schurch had a deputy's cell phone provided to him. So until we could assemble everybody, the sheriff and I made a mutual assist call to both Brown County Sheriff and Aberdeen Police. We knew the resources available there. The DCI negotiation team was also en route, dispatched by the Attorney General's office. I knew that they had a longer ways to come and that Aberdeen would be a little bit closer. So I can't say enough about how all these agencies pulled together. You know, people were coming from across the state, and everything ended peacefully. So it's the best possible outcome.
Are you able to release the name and age of the suspect?
His name is Matthew Mattern, M-A-T-H-E-R-N.
Is Matthew spelled with 2 T's or 1?
M-A-T-T-H-E-W, middle initial J. Date of birth, November 18th, 1987.
Where's he from?
Redfield.
Where is he being held?
He's being held at the Brown County Jail right now, and we were also in communication with both his employer and family members throughout the day as well as part of this.
Sorry, what was his last name again?
Mattern?
I'd like to reiterate too, just going back to what's been said, the communication between law enforcement, those of us here at the hospital, as well as it was very good throughout this entire process. There was dialogue going back and forth, so we were able to keep everybody in the loop, working with the sheriff's department, with their dispatch, and with all the different law enforcement agencies. We were all in constant communication, which certainly aided to the outcome that we had today.